Stalin was born in December 18, 1879. He was born in a poor family. His mother worked as a domestic servant as his father was a shoemaker. His father was alcoholic and abusive. He left his family to work at a factory when Stalin was 5. He was the only of his brothers to survive childhood because of various health complications. He attended school at a church where he graduated in 1894 at the top of the class. He became very interested in the Marxism during college. He became a follower of Lenin. Then he joined the Bolshevik movement. He was a bank robber and used the money to fund the revolution. He became one of the Bolshevik leaders in the Caucasus because of his organization skills and his strikes. Stalin was exiled to Siberia numerous times. He became one of Lenin's closest friends. Stalin was appointed General Secretary of the Communist Party in 1922. Lenin died in 1924. Stalin made sure that Trotsky didn't reach power. Eventually, he became dictator of the Soviet Union.
Now I'm going to talk about the economic and political ideologies of Joseph Stalin. His ideologies was named Stalinism. He was influenced by the Marxism and the Leninism. It was a dictatorship, and he uses a lot of propaganda against his enemies and a lot of propaganda in favor of his government. The technique he uses was that he killed each threat to his government and inspire citizens to spy in each other. He also had a 5-year plans in which he was trying to convert the Soviet Union into a very industrialized power. And he had a lot of purge and things like that. And he also had the cult of personality, like the babies and stuff was named after him. And this was like some of his ideas during his government.
Okay, we can start the interview now.
What were Joseph Stalin goals in World War II?
Soviet Union. Hey, Stalin goals. He developed a 5-year plan in which he transformed peasant societies in the Soviet Union into industrial superpowers. He would take the farms and factories and make him of the government.
Oh, that was clever.
You talking to me, boy? Huh? Very good. Yes, clever.
What did the Soviet Union wanted to achieve in World War II?
Oh yeah, the Soviet Union wanted to become the great industrial power like United States, Great Britain, and France. They wanted more power. Power.
Good answer.
Of course, my horse.
How did the Soviet Union participate in World War II?
The Soviet Union had a non-aggression pact with Germany in 1939, but then Hitler decided to stab us in the back. And in 1941, the Soviet Union joined the Allied powers. We fought against Nazi Germany, and finally, the Allied powers won.
Hello, I'm Jael, and I'm going to talk about what Stalin did for Russia. Stalin was one of the worst dictators because he didn't care about anything and did horrible things to the people of Russia. He was focused on his own country and, more importantly, the elimination of anyone who was a threat to him. Stalin took about 300,000 Polish prisoners in 1939, and then in March 5, 1940, they were executed. This was known as the Katyn Massacre. The estimated amount of dead people related to Stalin and his government is around 20 million people. Stalin also was responsible for the deportation of 3.3 million of people. He sent these people to Siberia and to underdeveloped republics in Central Asia. Over 10 million people died from starvation. 800,000 people were killed in execution. 1.7 million died in the gulags. And with all these things said, we can assume that Stalin violated the Articles 18, 4, 3, and 2 of the Human Rights. These articles say that everyone has freedom of speech, no one can live under slavery, everyone has right to be free, and everyone has right to believe in whatever they want. So with all of this said, we can assume that Stalin was a very bad dictator and he violated a lot of the human rights. Thank you.
The beginning of the end of an era marked by repression and purge finally came in 1953 with the death of Joseph Stalin. While he was in power, he deported around 50 nationalities or 3.5 million people. This was one of the main causes of the interethnic feuds that would later occur in Russia. And towards the end of his rule, he sparked an intense feeling of nationalism amongst Russians. And writers who were credited the great minds of Russian thinkers to Western doctrines were ridiculed, and this caused a more tense and unsafe environment. In addition, he made people believe that Russians were responsible for inventing things that they didn't really do. And another consequence for the end of his rule was a decrease in tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union. And since people were fed up with how they were living under Stalin's regime, they want a new leader rose to power, and he took the Soviet Union to a new direction. This new leader was Nikita Khrushchev, and he established a political reform called de-Stalinization. This was meant to condemn the crimes committed by Stalin.